the books I'm reading is the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. I don't know if you've come across it, but it's a book about top performers and taking on good habits and the habits and the strategies and the rules of geniuses and successful people. One of the threads that came up through the book, I'm about halfway through, that I found really striking and a really good reminder for me and you guys, was this idea that successful people and the genii of our world, they tend to be people who do things regularly that most other people don't want to do. I loved the simplicity of this idea, and I love the kind of back to front way of seeing things. A lot of people, a lot of gurus talk about, like, these are the things, these are the exact rules and steps we need to take, right, to be successful. And of course, everyone has their own blueprint. You can't really take someone else's blueprint exactly, word for word, step by step, apply it to your own life and expect to see the same results, because we're all different people. We all see things and do things and filter things differently. So everything is going to be through our own lens of interpretation. So this is why this simple idea of successful people, if you can take and extract one thing that all successful people, all geniuses, all people who've made a difference in the world have been able to share as a common trait, as a common thing they've done looking back over their lives, it's this idea that they did things that most people didn't want to do. And those things that most people don't want to do inevitably involve some kind of pushing against discomfort or comfort. You're getting out of your comfort zone, you're experiencing some kind of pain or struggle. And this goes directly against this idea that many people say of doing what you love, doing what makes you happy. And yes, those things are important, but it forgets to include the contribution of real pain in our lives as a thing that makes up overall happiness in the long term. To be happy in the long run, there are going to be inevitably things that involve pain, because pain leads to growth. We are humans built to survive. Everything about us is about survival. Everything about us is a built-in survival mechanism so that we stay alive. We are living organisms that minute by minute are striving to stay alive. That is the purpose really of us on this planet. We've been built to be these survival machines, which means that anytime we bring in something that feels painful or just uncomfortable, or it feels like we're pushing against the edge of what we know, it's going to kick in the survival mechanism to deal with that pushing against our boundaries, so that we are ever and continually able to stay alive as conditions get harder and harder. So if we're constantly in a comfortable environment, there's nothing pushing against the edge in that moment, in which case your body is not adapting to conditions getting tougher, conditions getting harder, and of course you're staying small in that stasis that you're bringing upon yourself. Now look at what's happening around us in the lockdowns, and we're more and more becoming more and more comfortable in a simple sedentary world that's got everything we need. We're having takeaways delivered, we've got the internet streaming through. We're not actively, unless we're doing the acting, we're not experiencing much discomfort these days, a lot of us. So we have to be conscious of that. We need to be aware of the importance of continually doing things that push against our boundaries, so that we trigger our survival mechanisms that grow us as humans. And we want to be growing, we want to be expanding, because that's what's going to not only make us feel better and make us feel stronger and make us feel more in control of our lives, but it'll genuinely make us stronger. We will be physically stronger, psychologically stronger, and this is the kind of thing we want to be striving for. This is what happiness comes out of. If we're constantly static and in stasis, and we're not growing, something within us is going to kind of sound the alarm. I'm going to feel depressed, I'm going to feel low. So this was just a really interesting idea. Some of the ideas that he brought up in the book are worth mentioning, and it's things like fasting, going off dopamine highs for a while, like just turning down the stimulations for a bit. You know, it's very easy to kind of get caught up in one way of doing things, and we sort of forget that actually doing this kind of thing, whether it be watching loads of TV or porn or gaming or eating too much sugar, we can kind of go down these channels and forget that actually we're making things too comfortable for ourselves, and we're not giving ourselves the opportunity to stretch and to to grow because we're going down one channel, and sometimes it's good to just get off the channel for a while, i.e. stop eating for a longer period than you normally would, or go off sugar for a while, or have a dopamine fast where you're not taking in all this stimulation, or as Robin Sharma sometimes does, sleep on a hard floor for a night every week, just to create a bit of variation whereby some of your week is spent doing things that are uncomfortable, because what it's doing, as I say, is strengthening you psychologically, mentally, so you can handle more and more tough things. And overall, you're just toughening yourself up. Society is continually coming up with excuses to avoid toughening. There's a real stigma around, from what I can sense, getting stronger, getting tougher, dealing with hardship. If hard things get in the way of people these days, there's always some excuse that comes up. There's always some reasoning around why we need to stay soft, and self-care and self-love and all that kind of stuff is great, but it's not good if we're doing it at the expense of actually toughening up. So I want to get you guys more aware this year, as we move into yet another year of lockdowns and restrictions, to start becoming really aware of where it is you're softening in your life and where it is that you could use a bit of toughening up, and start applying that to different aspects of your life. For me, it's running outside in the cold. I run with just shorts on in -2 degrees here in Poland, and that's been great. That raises my immunity, it blocks off viruses, it keeps me feeling strong. I haven't been ill in more than 2 years. That's just one element of bringing in something that's uncomfortable into my life, that's a bit painful, that ultimately makes me feel better and ultimately makes me grow as a person. So think about how you might start bringing in active habits into your week that feel crappy, feel a bit painful, but ultimately are going to be doing you a lot of good. That's my video for today. Hoped you enjoyed that. Do subscribe if you liked this type of thing. Like this video if you liked it. Share it with your friends, all that kind of stuff. Make sure that you're following my newsletter at alexmathers.net. You'll see the link in the description box, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.